Hey there guys, what's happening? It's time for some Stranger Things. I'm sure that you've all had a lovely spooky Halloween and this review couldn't be more appropriate. I'm going to kick off with the themes of the show and we're going to talk about the 80s styling around the show and how that is incorporated. So the themes are camaraderie, they are gang relationship, they're like friends fighting a common enemy, common threats, friends coming together to beat a baddie. And these are retro themes now that are in the forefront of TV, which is a response to maybe us trying to fight against bigger things in the world. In terms of the way that the series is shot, there's warm lens cameras used with saturated colours that give off that 80s retro vibe, down to styling with costumes, hair and makeup. The costumes are deliberately vibrant, and that brings us back to the era. So it's not just that the clothes are retro, it's the deliberate colours that they use for the actors' outfits. And there's down to toys, accessories in the show, which is really cool. That they've gone down to that much detail, and you'll feel nostalgia all the way throughout, which is like brilliant for the show's appeal, I'm sure. We all want a bit of nostalgia every now and again. So yeah, the camera lenses feeling warm. I'd say with the saturated colours make you feel like it's a nice show to be watching. There's the attention to the detail with the clothing, the hair. There's even like mock references where it's like breaks the fourth wall slightly, where they are almost making fun of themselves, which is nice to see a bit of humour in the series as well. The 80s music throughout the show is really pushed pretty hard as well. 80s and late 70s pushed through into the background, which is a way of keeping us grounded in the series. It makes us feel like we're never taken out of the world while we're watching the series, which is really nice. Nice little touches like that keep you engaged in a series like this. There's like old favourites that have come back from series 1, with The Clash returning Should I Stay or Should I Go. That's nice to see as well. That brings the two seasons together, and along with the themes in the series, the brotherly bonds are represented by that song. There is cars and arcades and just so many references that are flashbacks to a bygone era, and they fully immerse you, they invest you in the show, and that's all good to see as well. Let's move on to the monster. So the monster in the show is a little bit of a knockoff to series of bygone and movies of bygone, that I'm sure they have deliberately, don't want to say ripped off, but they have pointed a finger at. So you'll see characters with relationship to the monster that you wouldn't normally see in a monster movie or a monster TV show, which is nice that they've done that too. The callbacks to directors' monsters I'd say, certain directors' monsters in this TV show. There is, I'd say if I had a slight gripe about the monster, I would say that there's not enough practical effects used. I would have liked to have seen some more practical effects, being how it's an 80s show. It's supposed to be an 80s show, and back in the day it was mainly practical effects as technology hadn't leapt forward enough. I'd have liked to have seen a link between that in the show. I would have thought that would be pretty cool to incorporate. So I think they slightly missed the boat because I think it's pretty much all CGI. But yeah, a callback to old techniques would have been nice. So yeah, the monsters aren't as scary. That is, I think, attributed to the fact that you have such a massive series that the original is, and the acting from, I don't want to pronounce his name wrong, it's Matthew Modine, or yeah, I think that's right, Matthew Modine. His big baddie is so impressive, simply because it is it's a scary human. It is like a monster in itself. He really is a big bad. His lack of compassion, or how he manipulates compassion, makes for a much scarier prospect than the monster in this Stranger Things. You really understand. Sometimes when you watch something, it's much scarier to understand somebody's motivations and why they are the way that they are, as opposed to just something that looks scary. The fact that he is maniacal, and it's just this human character. It's just a guy that you could work with or be next door to. That is what makes the original premise of Stranger Things with their baddie much scarier, I think. There is a main monster running throughout the show. I don't think that's much of a spoiler because I think they've leaked bits and pieces in trailers. But that's the main thing you'll be dealing with throughout the series. The episodes. Like I said before, that's mainly CGI, unfortunately. The colours that they use on the monster are, throwbacks to the series before, which is nice in a way because the theme around the colouring on the monsters, the noises that they make, ties the two shows together. If the monster before give you the heebie-jeebies, this one certainly will. I just don't think it's slightly as impactful, just because of the way that they reveal the monster in this series, and also because there is a lot of mood music, there's a lot of build-up, and they don't show you the monster in the same lights as they do in this one. The Stranger Things Demogorgon, as they call it, that seems a lot more menacing. Just, I think, because of the things that I've just spoken about. It's not a knock on the series, but you want your monster to be creepy, scary, involving. It just didn't hit that quite as much this time around for me. I hope that's different for you, so you get a really impactful, home-hitting monster. And yeah, it gives you the heebie-jeebies. I'm just going to talk about moving on to the acting as well. I touched on it before with the first series with Matthew Modine. The kids in this one are similar to the one before. The chemistry is fantastic. It will make you feel like you are watching your favourite 80s classic movies. And like I said before, it's full of like nods. This show is to bygone directors, bygone movies, and the kids in this series, they bring back feelings that you will have experienced when you watch those films. Their camaraderie, how fun-loving they are with each other, you know, the way that you are with your own friends. It's really nice to see. It's nice to see something a bit warmer, and it makes the show feel less drab, because obviously it's such a heavy subject matter, and it's what made those original movies and TV shows so successful, that they'd mix these two aspects together, and that's nice to see this in this show again. I think that the whole cast did a really good job, actually. It's always going to be daunting to move from such a successful series and try and replicate it, try and do it again. I think that they have managed it. I don't think that the writing is as strong, and that pushes the characters. It sets the tone and the places sometimes that you see the characters in, and that can affect the way that the acting is delivered. I don't feel that's as strong in this season. That's a slight gripe. But yeah, I feel like the acting's still what you would expect from Stranger Things. There is more Will in this series. The actor that plays Will's really good. He is definitely more involved in this one, and it's nice to see that he has acting chops too at such a young age. His interaction with the other characters, they make you really feel like these have been friends for a long time, and they all really care about each other, which is, you know, again, it's really nice to see. And an overall summary for what I felt about it. I think it's really clever how they are able to use things that are familiar to you, things that you grew up with, and call them back and make you feel that you are settled down into a show using that. That's really clever. That's the whole appeal for, I would say, the predecessor for the original series. The group aspect of the show is that there's this set of friends that overcome the odds, and they take a small group of losers, a reference from another book, another film, a losers club. They take that and they expand their little friendship group, and it's about humans coming together and doing something good, fighting in the face of adversity, people with immoral grounds that they want to break, and I think it's like a point of saying, you know, these are the things that matter, these are the things really don't matter, you should never cross this line, these are what are important to us. And those bonds are represented wholeheartedly in this show. It's fantastic to see. It's nice totally to watch. There is recycled themes, like I say, but they just make you feel grounded in the show. My bugbears with it, the pacing's a bit. I'd say the pacing's off this season. It's very rushed. It feels a lot more scatty compared to the one before. I think that's just down to the material that they have to cover in this one. I think that maybe they might have had more time, more thought process in the in Stranger Things, and this one feels slightly pushed forward. It feels slightly off with the pacing. A lot of filler as well in this series. They move you around quite a bit, and it's not a main. I feel like they could have tackled it a lot better. It's not really. You don't watch it and think, oh, they had to do that. They had to take that character there. It feels like they just did it to fill time, fill story, give extra story, where I think they could have done it a little bit better. So yeah, the pacing and the filler overshadow. It's a little bit of a pun. It's a bit of an overshadowing monster. In terms of the series as a whole, I loved it. If you can look past those things and just see the good, the work that's gone into this show, and the people that are involved in the show, I think I'd 100% recommend picking the show up when it comes out, or watching it on Netflix. I'd binge watch it because that's what I did. I think it's what everybody does. Crack your popcorn and binge it. Binge series 1 if you've not seen it, and then go straight on to series 2 back to back. Yeah, that's my review on Stranger Things 2. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you'll come back to the channel. Please like and subscribe to my channel, so you can keep watching my content, and hopefully we'll build the channel together. Have a good Halloween, and see you in the next one.